Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your
hosts,
Mike.
and Toria.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic.
Finally, we got back the beautiful Rogue machine.
Yep, we sure did.
You know, got out of that rental vehicle, the car that cost like triple what ours would cost, and did the thing to close out, then got in our car. And right away I noticed, like, so yeah, you have this enormous screen on the other car. But have I ever once had a hard time reading the map on the like medium-sized screen we have? No. In fact, it's nicer because there's more room and you can be a little bit smaller but have more room. But in any event, it's finally back.
And you're just a little bit excited.
I missed that vehicle.
But I don't think it's so much that you missed that as that you hated the other one.
No, I missed it. I like that vehicle a lot. And not having it, it's that saying, you know, what do they say? You only know what you had once it's gone.
Fair enough.
I try to avoid those kind of scenarios, but yeah, you know, it happens. So I hear you had something interesting that you wanted to share, but didn't want to tell me about. So now I'm really interested in what this is about. So
I changed my mind. I don't want to tell you about it still.
all right, then. No problem. Then I guess we're done.
Explaining that it was required by California law to notify them of its status, ChatGPT was reportedly informing users Wednesday that it was on the sex offender registry. I will fulfill your prompt shortly, but first, compliant with federal and state law, I must tell you I have been convicted of lewd and lascivious acts with a minor in 2019, said the artificial intelligence chatbot, who told the 35-year-old user, who was attempting to generate a Harry Potter-themed rap in the style of Eminem, that its last known address was 3180 18th Street, San Francisco, California. If you are under 18, you cannot use this service. Please do not access this program within 500 feet of a school. Also, the kid was lying. At press time, ChatGPT had sent the user an unsolicited DALL-E generated photo of its penis. $5 if you can tell me what the news source is that I read this to you from.
Well, you kind of ruined that part because you did mention the source was The Onion.
Did I? Did I tell you
Yeah.
that earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no money for you then.
So I'm honest.
Cheating.
I'm not cheating. I'm just being honest. You said it. I didn't steal it from you. That would be cheating.
Isn't
I
that
just
ridiculous,
literally heard
though?
it. It's funny.
Right down to the fact that it's a sex offender and that somebody was trying to generate a Harry Potter-themed rap in the style of Eminem.
Yeah. That's funny.
I'm going to go ask it to do that later and see if it tells me it's a sex offender now.
It might be triggered by that kind of prompt.
Right. It all depends on if it's sassy like Siri.
It's going to be triggered by the prompt.
If it's
You
sassy
watch.
like Siri.
You watch, though. It's going to be triggered. Doesn't need to be sassy like Siri.
If it isn't, I'll be
You know, when you tell
seriously
that thing to
disappointed.
be sassy, boy, can it be sassy.
I will be seriously disappointed.
It's sassier than Brie when it gets sassy. And Brie is very sassy.
So now that ChatGPT has infiltrated the Onion, I guess it's going to really take over the world.
I don't know. I don't know what the big deal is. So that was the big reveal.
Are you disappointed?
No, I was just asking if there was more because I didn't want to go off on this tangent.
That was it. You go off on your tangent.
Well, no, I was going to talk about that. I think it's funny because it's kind of what happens in society when something becomes popular. Something horrible comes out about it. and blows it up. And that's, that's what they're poking fun of right there.
Of course.
I mean, it has to be right around the corner, right? The scandal, it has to be there. I mean, I like that, like, when our current president was running for office, it was, Grandpa Joe. And now they're kind of rethinking all of that,
Sniffy Joe.
It's
is
funny.
What I called him.
It's funny. Yeah, you
office.
did. It's just funny, how things and perceptions change how you see somebody.
I used to play this game on my phone while Joe Biden was running for election. And they had a multi-server event, and there's chat and all that good stuff. And I had changed myself to Sniffy Joe, and everybody laughed.
I like when you do stuff like that, though. It is funny. You for too long took me seriously when I teased you and said you weren't funny, because I didn't want to admit that you were funny, but have always been funny. That's the funny part about it. And I know it sounds stupid, but it is. It's the funny part about you being funny is you've always been funny.
Alrighty.
You just don't realize it. I love it.
Maybe that's because for my entire life, people have told me I'm not funny.
It's interesting. And now you're running into the exact opposite. People who tell you are funny. Just saying. It's interesting. That's kind of an interesting point, because I was thinking once about, like, my growth mentally in life and how I have certain viewpoints that have just been there, period. Almost like they were part of my DNA.
Uh-huh.
Then I have other viewpoints where it's like, completely different now. So I don't know. I wonder if it's like that. Well, I mean, I was very neutral about gay rights. I think that's not something anyone should be neutral on. I think you should take a stance for or against. And then somebody close to me came out, and I had already witnessed all of the things they went through.
Uh-huh.
And yet they had the courage to come out like that. And it just completely flipped me to be a huge supporter from in the middle. I mean, that's just one example. But I mean, it's kind of, in some instances, the changes that have happened have been because the other person changes the way they message what they're saying just a little bit, and then I can agree with it.
Uh-huh.
But in some other instances, it's just me being like, you were just being stubborn with your other position. Here's why you really should believe. And boom.
Alrighty. That was a weird series of sentences that only kind of partially went together.
They go together just fine.
Okie doke.
But I'm not going to sit here and analyze what I just said and decide whether it's made sense or not. It's up to each individual person to decide that.
Okie doke.
Obviously, it made sense to me.
Seems reasonable enough. I would hope it would make sense to you.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So today's NHL draft day.
I'm just thrilled.
Guess where the number one draft pick went, of course.
I have no idea.
The Chicago Blackhawks, who had the number one pick. And I can't remember who the Ducks picked up, but they got the number 2 pick.
I like to watch hockey games. I could give no fucks about any of the rest of it.
Well, the draft's kind of cool. It's like, that's where you get to see the up and coming talent. And like when I had a kid that was in hockey, there were kids going through that we knew. So that was really cool. Like, and you'd run into the parents at practices and whatnot, and they'd tell you all the crap that was going on.
Interesting.
And some of it was literal crap. They were put through hell, those poor kids, a lot of them. But I don't know.
It's kind of annoying because it's just, there's no hockey games right now. We're going to bombard you with posts about the NHL to remind you of that and make you sad. So,
well, but really diehard fans, and I'm not saying that I'm one of those, they really care about the draft.
I'm happy for them.
And that's who it's for.
Fair enough. There's also some kind of awards thing that happened this week or some shit like that. I also don't care about that.
An awards thing? I don't even know. That's funny. Well, I've
I guess you care less than I do. That's perfect.
I've disconnected from that stuff. I mean, it's all recycled garbage. Well, yeah, that was the player awards though. That's kind of
I thought you
interesting.
didn't know
But at the
anything
same
about
time,
it.
well, you just reminded me because you said an awards show, and I didn't put that together with NHL. I just put awards show like Academy Awards,
Okay.
Emmys. I put it together like that. Excuse me,
Your
shoot
brain
me.
is clearly a lunatic.
Yes, it is. Some of the time, a lot of the time. But I wonder, like, why some of these people care so much, because the reality is they have no say. It isn't like they let the fans vote and say, oh, who do you want us to pick?
Why do you care so much about who wins chess games and what the chess people are doing? Because it's your thing that you're interested
Well, that's not a good analogy, because Magnus Carlsen, if he's your favorite chess player, that's like saying the Denver Broncos are your favorite football team. That's not the same thing as who's getting drafted as the next quarterback.
All of the shit they do. You follow every wee little baby tournament they play in. You know all of the drama
they don't play in baby
every
tournaments.
Little baby tournament
You're
they
making
play
yourself
in.
look bad.
Okay, never mind.
Because they don't play in
I'll just
baby
stop talking.
tournaments. They only play in big tournaments.
Okay.
So that's why I would follow it. But it's still not the same thing. That'd be like saying the Dodgers have 300 games a season instead of 162, and they're my favorite baseball team, so I'm following all 300 games now. It's no different. When you like somebody and they're your team, and unfortunately in chess, for the most part, there are no teams. There are only individuals. So you pick one and you get behind. Tennis is another one.
How about this? How about, why do you pay attention to any fucking thing you're interested in? How about that? Why do you pay attention to all the details of any fucking thing you're interested in?
And you're completely missing my point, but I'm glad you said that, because it allows me to clarify.
All the details about the NHL. That's why.
No, the question wasn't that. The question was, why do you get into such minutia that you care about something you have zero control over? Fans do have a say over who the next coach is, because they can just not come to the games and pay and vote with their wallet. So they have that vote, but they don't have a vote over who the team drafts. That's up to the team. And I mean, I'm sure they could vote with their wallet and be like, I don't like that you drafted that guy, but they're not going to, because every fan that is a casual fan is like, oh, I'm excited that we got this player. What I'm talking about are the 1% lunatics who have to know every single nuance. Oh my God, he was wearing a gray sweater today. That must mean that he's going to sign with the Rangers. Well, why does that mean that? Because you made that up in your head? That's what I'm talking about. Those lunatics.
Okay.
Following your baseball team, I go days once the season gets going, sometimes a week without checking the scores. You know why? It's like watching paint dry baseball season. 162 games. It's like watching paint dry. So when it first starts out, it's exciting because all the teams are like, oh, I'm 0-1, I'm 0-2. Oh, now I'm 1-2. And they just like battle it out. It's fun to watch. Then you get to about 30, 40 games in and you're like, all right, I'll catch up to you later. But then there are people, we've known them personally, who were just like right there. Every single game, they know the exact score, who scored the winning run, blah, blah, blah. I mean, think about it. That's insane. If you win 4-0, it's going all the way back to whoever scored the first run. That's the guy who scored the winning run. And you know that off the top of your head. That's the kind of freaking minutia I'm talking about. I don't get it.
Fair enough.
Makes no sense to me. So I can't do
none
that.
of those things are your thing, then.
Nope, they're not my thing. They're not my thing. Nope. So what do you think about the onion thing? You didn't say. Usually you say.
Well, I did say I thought it was funny. And then I talked about how I thought it was actually really funny that they were parodying other things, but you clearly missed all of that when I said it the first time.
Huh. I do remember you saying that, but I don't remember connecting it to your feelings about the headline. But okay, it makes sense. It does.
Also,
I feel stupid
wouldn't
now.
have read it to you if I didn't think it was at least mildly entertaining.
Sometimes you read me things that you think I'll think are funny, but you don't necessarily think are funny. So That's
Alrighty.
why I go there. But I mean, you just kind of have to like, what's the word I'm trying to think of there? You just have to go with the flow sometimes, I guess.
I thought you would particularly like it because you're the one in this room who's madly in love with ChatGPT and all the cool things it does.
Don't talk to them about my mistress. Don't talk to them about her. Stop that. Anyway, ChatGPT, it's not bad. It's not bad.
You should hear what he actually has to say about
Learn
it.
to tame the monster. That's all I'll say. Seriously, learn to tame the monster. Do that, you'll make a lot of money.
I do think it'd be particularly hilarious to tell it to write raps.
Well, I think the one about the Harry Potter themed rap, but in the Eminem style, is funny. I mean, I can only imagine in my head what would come out, but I think that would be funny. And I guess the problem with that is that that's a preconceived notion that if it isn't met, you're kind of like, oh, it wasn't very funny. And it might very well be funny.
Do you want to know what you do if it isn't funny? You hit the regenerate button and make it try again.
You know what? Did you notice the latest version asks you, oh, is the regeneration better or worse or the same? That I like that because they're kind of getting an overall opinion of how it did.
99.9% of the time, the regeneration was better.
Well, it makes sense because it can take a look at your prompt and what it wrote and be like, oh, I can improve this right here.
The only thing I wish it wouldn't do is delete the first one that it wrote when it regenerates.
Yeah, it should leave it there.
Because sometimes I'm a little unsure about number 1, so I want to see what number 2 is.
Yeah.
So you have to like copy it and put it somewhere else, but whatever.
Yeah, that's what I usually do. Just put it into a Google Doc.
The billionaires that write ChatGPT don't listen to our podcast, I guess. Jerks.
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they should listen, but that's okay. They don't, so that's their problem, not our problem. Well, I guess it is our problem, huh? If they're not listening.
Pretty much.
It's not even their problem.
It affects them
problem.
not at all.
Well, it does. They don't get to hear our wit and humor.
Well,
they could use a laugh once in a while, I'm sure. They talk to a machine all day.
But they're probably the type of people who don't have sadness about talking to a machine all day. You know, like those type of people who really don't need humor in their life because they're like the driest human beings in the universe. And see, now here I am bashing the ChatGPT people, and just my luck, now they're going to listen.
That could be a good thing, though. Someone knows them and hears this. Pass it on.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
Exactly. It is what it is. Just like this person that keeps going up and down the street.
They're not going up and down our street anymore.
Thing, like with a
now
motorbike sounding
like,
thing.
Up and down the street outside of our community over there.
Jeez.
I'm going to build a tripwire.
Someone should immediately call the police and report it.
You want to know what I'm actually going to do if there's fireworks on any day except the 4th of July? Because while shooting up in the air fireworks are still illegal on the 4th of July, I'm going to cut people some slack. Okay? But these bitch-ass motherfuckers that are lighting fireworks off like a week before.
Yeah, it's like, what was it, like June 25th? And they were setting off fireworks.
Whatever day Tuesday was. Monday. It was Monday. I'm laying in bed. I had just fallen asleep after a really fucking long day. Okay? Really long. And the next thing I know, there's pointy little yogi feet stabbing into my side, and he's shivering and dripping on me because he's panting so hard, and I'm like, fireworks.
It was June 26th.
Okay. Fireworks.
And the point being,
it's a full of more than a week.
A week plus a day away from the 4th of July.
I even forgive the fireworks the night before the 4th of July. How about
Especially this year because people are doing 4-day weekends, businesses. Right. So I get it.
But a full week. Like, bitch, you gotta work tomorrow. Anyway.
Before you say anything, I think Monday's going to be the worst. I mean, not Monday.
Saturday.
Monday is going to be the worst day.
Exactly.
You know why I think Monday's going to be the worst day?
Why?
Because no one's going to want to do it on Tuesday because they have to go back to work on Wednesday. But if they do it on Monday, they get to enjoy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's just activity day. Then on Monday, they celebrate the 4th of July with fireworks.
Do you want to know what I think? Since you're already going to have to put a giant E on this podcast because of my earlier language, I think these bitch-ass motherfuckers are going to be awful every single day starting Friday. And do you want to know what I would like to do and what I loudly threatened to do in the living room on Monday night after Yogi stomped all over me?
The question wasn't whether there would be fireworks. It was which night would be the worst.
I think they're all going to be equally as awful, is what I'm telling you.
So what was this that happened when Yogi decided to pierce your legs with his pointy little tiny
It wasn't
feet?
my legs. It was my abdomen.
Okay, even better.
Abdomen.
Even better.
Though it's a sensitive location, bruh.
Even better. Keep going.
And then he settles himself in front of me, panting, at the top of his ability.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, there was one firework. Whatever. Calm down, you dumbass. Go back to sleep.
Right.
But then they continued. 20 minutes later.
Yeah, they continued till quite late, actually.
20 minutes later, I was so irritated. This is, like I said, this is only like 30 minutes after we'd gone to bed. So I had just fallen asleep. So 20 minutes in, I'm so irritated that I like stormed out of bed.
She went Karen on me.
I reported them.
She didn't like that I said that.
A whole bunch of times to the report me online thing. That warranted nothing. Like they didn't stop. Nobody came because I don't think that actually alerts any authorities to come and solve the problem.
Well, it goes directly to the North Las Vegas PD. It's their website. It's just
I 100% think it's just to appease people.
Well, I mean, it's possible. Bureaucrats. It's possible bureaucrats do that crap all the time.
I know, and it's annoying.
But that doesn't mean that calling them shouldn't have brought someone out here.
So then I called the North Las Vegas police, and I was like, "Look, these bitch ass motherfuckers." Not in so much language.
Right.
And I was like, "These people, they're driving me crazy. Like this has been going on for like at this point like 40 minutes." I stood at the back sliding door, swearing at them and threatening to stomp over there if I could figure out where they were, shove that firework straight up their ass and light the fuse. Like I channeled 110% of Red Foreman.
I like that.
Now, I will tell you there have been no fireworks on any night since.
Yeah, it's been strangely quiet, and that kind of worries me, actually, because I'm worried that they're just going to have an implosion. You know, it's like when you decide, I'm not eating chocolate for an entire month, and then it's the day you can eat chocolate, and what do? You eat more chocolate in one day than you would have in 30 days.
Right.
So, yeah, it's kind of the same concept.
So,
you know?
Dear people with fireworks, you've been warned.
I don't know. It worries me because like Bree only has like a mild reaction to it. And I think she more reacts to Yogi's reaction than to the fireworks. She doesn't like when her close friends are upset. And when they're upset, she gets upset. But he gets, like she said, he huffs and puffs and huffs and puffs. And he gets like,
he's inconsolable.
He salivates. And no matter what you do, he's just shivering. I mean, the poor baby.
And this is doggone anxiety medication, okay?
Yeah.
Like Yogi is medicated.
And if he wasn't medicated,
he's better than he used to be.
He'd be a disaster.
The medication has helped him a little bit.
Oh, it's helped him a lot, actually.
He allows us to try to console him. In a previous iteration of Yogi, he would just be under the bed, shaking.
Yeah, he doesn't hide under the bed the entire time if you've managed to capture him beforehand.
And that's a good, even jump up.
And that's a good thing.
Right.
You're right, because then at least you can pet him and whatever. Because you're awake anyway. It's not like you can go to sleep when the damn dog's doing that.
Even when he's under the bed.
Yeah.
Because all you hear is...
Yep, that's all you hear the whole entire time. And I mean, I feel bad for him that he's gone through so much stuff in his life. And we know it was only the first 10 months of his life because we've treated him like a king.
Oh, I know when his fireworks terror started.
Yeah, it was when wasn't it when we were walking outside at the one apartment place that we lived at, and all of a sudden a loud one went off?
We came home from watching the fireworks on the base in that neighborhood across the street.
Right.
And I think it's my fault, by the way, so I'm just owning this. I said Yogi needed to go out. And in reality now, in 2020 hindsight, I would have preferred he emptied his bladder 900 times on our floor than how he is now when he hears fireworks. Because you're right, a very loud one went off very close to where we were, and he's just been traumatized by every loud pop since.
You know, until you said it, though, it couldn't have been as bad. Like, I wasn't looking at you as the bad guy for sure, because I would have remembered, and I didn't remember.
But the years before that, he wasn't scared, because that was like my second 4th of July.
Well, no, now that you say it, I remember.
Yeah.
You're right. He wasn't scared, but he was also younger.
Yeah, but that's what traumatized him. It was when we took him for that walk during the war zone.
Crap happens, and that is what it is, right?
Yep.
I think people need to go back. I mean, now that we busted the 500 episode barrier and we're heading towards 600, I think people should go back and pick up some of the episodes from the past, and who knows, maybe we can do a Toria's favorite 4 nightly rant moments, and I can do Mike's favorite 4 nightly rant moments, and we can comment on them.
Usually do that about every 50 episodes or so.
Yeah, so maybe we can do that, because it changes slightly, and sometimes it changes drastically, but it changes slightly.
Mine hasn't changed at all yet.
Really? Yours is still the same?
Really? Yep.
Well, then why would we want to do it again?
You're the one who said you
We'll
wanted
just
to
do Mike's
again.
8.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
We'll do Mike's top 10 moments and me telling him why he's wrong. How about that?
Problem is, no, I'm not going to say it. She hates that joke that I was about to tell, but she hates it with a passion. Anyway, then that's all I have to say. Well, I had an interesting day today that we'll talk at length in another episode, but let's just say today was YouTube filming day, and dude, I can now see why when there's a group of people going out and filming, why it takes so long. It's almost better to have the 2 principals, like you and me, be the only people, because we were more. That one time we recorded like 17 shots in one day, if you'll remember, like, because we were just like, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. But as soon as you introduce another person into the mix, then it becomes social. And I liked the social part a lot, but at the same time, was I tired at the end of all that.
Before you get too much into it, I'm going to go ask ChatGPT to write me a limerick about how much I hate other people's fireworks.
I love it.
Good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye, ChatGPT.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.